them McFarlane floodgates are still being held open. Let me tell you something. It is very easy to call it the end when we get the news that Mattel gets the license, but to say this line will fade away, no. They are going for broke here at the end. Absolutely going for broke. Some of it I want, some of it I don't, some of it's a problem. Let's do it. So we just had Wondercon, and of course at Wondercon there was a big release from McFarlane Toys talking about a bunch of the stuff that they have coming out. DC Multiverse is definitely part of that release. Excuse me. What is it that's coming out that I want? What is it that's coming out that I will easily pass on here at the end? What is it that's coming out that I have a problem with? Because all three of these things I think are about to happen here. Well, this is Toy Arc, and over here on Toy Arc, they have the pictures posted for all the stuff that was revealed at WonderCon 2025. So I'm going to go down their list, and we are going to look at what was released. And there's a lot, okay? There's a lot of pictures here, so let's get this going. First off, this is a wave right here. 7-inch spring 2025, and let's just talk about what's going on, what I want, what I don't. First off, remember I did a video where I unboxed Fire because for some reason my brain was telling me that it was Jade? There's Jade right there. We are getting Jade right there. So hey, that's a good thing. Jade is something that I actually want. Batman 1 million, I don't know what that is. I don't care what that is. Bizarro Classic, this I'm in consideration for. If I could get my hands on this, I think that's a pretty cool figure. I think that I'd run with it. Cowboy Batman, I don't care. Like, I just don't. Eradicator, Return of Superman. You would think that'd be something that I would go for. But something about the body dimensions that I'm looking here, I don't know if I'm imagining it or if it's all in the face or what. I don't want this. Like, there's nothing about this that I want. I don't know why, so Eradicator I'm definitely skipping. And then there's Hal Jordan Armor Suit, Return of Superman, which you would say, Bill, Green Lantern. I don't care. That doesn't do it for me, the full green bodysuit thing, armor thing. If it was like an effect where it was the Green Lantern and you clipped armor pieces onto him, sure. So in this wave, 2 figures that I want. That's not terrible. 2 figures that I want. Next wave here, we have Superman 52. This is the summer wave. Not feeling 52. I don't hate Superman 52. In fact, I feel that it was a decent costume. Not feeling it. Mr. Miracle, cool, but I think I could pass on it. Sandman. This is tough. Sandman is one of those kind of like JSA things that I kind of feel like I want, but I don't know. I would fight with myself about him. He's a maybe. Azrael, Night Quest. That is cool. It is really cool. I don't have an Azrael, but I think I would pass on this. Azrael is one of those things in the 90s that I thought was cool in the 90s and then kind of got over it and still appreciate the character, but have no real nostalgia for this look that he had rocking back then. So I could pass on this. But a return of Superman, Cyborg Superman, that is cool. That I want. That is beautiful. And if that body sculpt works out to be more the Superman, like a classic Superman, he looks like he may be a little bit big, but I may even be able to let that go for what this is. So I have one maybe, and then a definite. Like if I find him, if I get the chance, I think I'm very interested. After that, Hawk Girl. Absolutely, no question, 100%. That is for me. I would love it. Let's do it. Yes, 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 and another yes. That is awesome. I love that. Hawkman is one of those things that I want to get my hands on as well, and this Hawk Girl just solidifies that desire. She's fantastic. Red Lantern, Guy Gardner. Yes, but very subjective as to whether or not I have the money to do so when he comes out. He's one of those things that if I feel like my money is even a little low, I will just say, that sucks, maybe I'll get lucky later, and I'll walk away from him. But he would be cool. So he's on my maybe. It's very dependent. I have the Green Lantern Guy Gardner that I want. So yeah, Mr. Terrific. This is not the Mr. Terrific that I necessarily grew up with or the one that I'm attached to in any way, so cool. And I have not had a major desire to own a Mr. Terrific. If I come across one and he's a good one, I will buy him, but he's not one that I'm actively seeking, even though I do like Mr. Terrific for what it's worth. Strange Lives of Superman? No interest at all. Like literally none. So in this wave of summer, I have a definite and a maybe. Next, theatrical deluxe edition. Okay. Here's my issues. I definitely want this Batman. But is this one of those situations where I almost have to call out the negative business practices of DC Multiverse McFarlane toys? I don't know. But I'm honestly wondering. See, that Batman is basically the Batman that we opened. He'll have a couple of differences. Yes, the return costume was different than the original 89 costume. That's fine. I agree with that. Different enough that I want it. I liked the return costume more, if we're being perfectly honest. And he will have the cape, it looks like, that will work. The cape that he should have had on the other release that we just reviewed. I don't know how to think. I don't know how to feel about that. Penguin? Yes. Catwoman? Yes. Max Schreck? Yes. Penguins? Yeah. These, I don't need these on my shelf. It's neat that they even bother to doing them. I'm sure some people are going to very much be into that. I don't need them. I don't care. But 4 of this wave are like some absolutes. Like they would be really cool to have. Okay. Now I'm curious. Is this the actual wave? And these are some sort of Build-A-Figure thing that we get for putting this wave together? Because if so, I'm probably just going to go directly to Todd McFarlane. Like, I'm going to go directly to the McFarlane website, and I'm going to order this as a wave, because I've noticed, especially with prices going up, we got to watch and we got to really think about how we're spending money. Right now, with prices going up and playing what they're playing, it almost makes more sense to go and order this as a wave. It ships faster from here than it does from Big Bad or Entertainment. And I'll get the whole wave and I get a discount for ordering the wave on the McFarlane site. So like, that might be what I do here. I might just order this as a stand wave because I kind of want all of it anyway. Oh man. Mr. Bones. Cool. I worry about this cape, and it makes me feel like I probably don't want him. But cool. Superboy. Return of Superman. I want this, and I'm a little bothered by it right off the bat. Is this a Power Girl situation? Do I have to keep my eyes open to find the alternate head with the glasses and the jacket? Because that's what he wore underneath the jacket, which is cool. That's Superboy. That's fine. But it's not Superboy that I want. In the 90s, when I grew up, when he was introduced, Return of Superman, he had the jacket and the glasses. How do I get that? Because I want it. I have a feeling this is going to be like a chase situation, and I do not like to chase figures. How do I put this? I've reached a point in my life where I'm a little older, and my interest at this point is to, buy figures. End of story. The hunt is not as exciting to me as it used to be. Part of the reason I went fully online anymore is because I like to buy the figure and then own the figure, and that's all I want from it. I just want it. And then I want to come in here and talk figures. And I don't want to spend the gas, time, and money to drive around to 100 locations, maybe finding something. It just does not appeal to me in any way whatsoever. Wonder Woman, #1, first appearance. Yes! Absolutely. That is for me. I'm going to keep my eyes open on this one because I do not have a Wonder Woman that I am thrilled with yet. I don't have her. From the McFarlane collection, every Wonder Woman that I've been able to land is the ones that are okay to me. They're kind of neat, but they're not what I want. That's something I want. I'm going to have to keep my eyes open. This is fantastic. Yeah. And she'll go real good with a classic Batman and classic Superman. 1940s Superman alongside her. Oh, absolutely. That is for me. Okay. We have the digital collectibles. I don't care about the digital part of this, but the rest of it, this is a pretty solid line. We have Batman from No Man's Land. I don't need this Batman. This Batman is not necessarily for me, but that's a good figure. Or rather, it looks like it'll be a very simplistic, all-black Batman good figure. Is that a plastic cape? I don't want plastic capes. I'm starting to notice that the plastic cape things are coming back, the rubber capes. And I have a feeling that what's going on is in order to pump out what was left of his line and get all the money he could get, some of these are getting the upgrades, and some of these are being pumped out from the original design factor and not being held back to be finished. I really think that's going on here. Because Stephanie looks like she doesn't have... that's Stephanie Brown Batgirl right there, which is also pretty cool. That's very much a mix of spoiler and such. And I like that. But I don't want those rubber capes. Not now that we've already stepped up and started doing something else. I don't want them. So that's also like Our Man. I saw Our Man and I was so excited. Our Man? A JSA Our Man? Yes, that's for me. Then I seen that his cape is back to the big unwieldy rubber thing. I don't want that. I don't want that. So these, maybe if I had extra money and I just happen to come across him, but I have no desire to track him down. She would be really cool, but I'm going to be honest, if she has a rubber cape, I may just go, she doesn't mean that much to me. I really think that's a very real possibility that I'll pass on her just because of that cape. Animated line. I don't collect any of these. I don't want any of these. Grey Ghost is cool that it's coming out. That looks like a decent Batman. I mean, they look like the cartoon, maybe except for him. He kind of looks off to me. Don't care. Superpowers. Is that what this is? Cool. I don't really collect superpowers, and when I do buy anything from them, it's very much just kind of like a quick grab maybe. 6-inch. This is the 6-inch Super Friends thing that's coming out right now. It's kind of built off the same principle as the 66 Batman figures that were being released, and that's kind of cool. All of these are neat, but they don't do anything for me. They don't make me go, oh man, that's for me. Statues. And I'm very much wondering if him trying to keep part of the line is going to come down to this. Everybody likes to say that he likes statues anyway. I think people sometimes forget, or it gets a little lost in the modernization of where we are, but McFarlane is pretty much what created action figures as they stand today. Like, he's pretty much responsible for going to a bunch of toy companies and saying, I want to release them, and going, that's not how we do toys, and then him going back and going, well, then I'll just do it myself. Like, the Spawn figures were a big deal for a reason back then. They moved better than most figures. They looked better than most figures. They were better articulated. They were heavier. They were made from better materials. They looked and had sculpt that was just unreal for its time. Sure, maybe they've aged today, but I think people forget how much of a game changer that was. So I don't think that he really wants all statues. I think that he just is particular about how much he's willing to change the sculpt, or maybe even what he's allowed to do in certain cases. But yes, they have a bunch of statues and whatnot coming out. Like including the Joker here. Fantastic. But I'm not a statue guy, especially recently. This is pretty cool. I'm curious about this. What is this? Will we be able to just buy this? Or is this like in the 2-pack you get this and then you can't really do anything with it because it's not wide enough or tall enough to get anything necessarily super cool, but cool enough that you will be able to put this as like a background on your shelf, and that's pretty cool in its own right. We have the Melina and Sub-Zero. If these guys move decently, this will be a cool wave to look at. It'll be something to really watch. Do I get in on the ground floor and grab some Mortal Kombat figures? Here's the thing. Right now, I don't have any Mortal Kombat figures. And the only reason I would want Mortal Kombat figures is so that they can fight with Street Fighter figures. But these will not be the right scale because I don't buy Storm Collectible Street Fighter. I buy Jada Toy Street Fighter. So this is its own problem all on its own. But they look pretty good. We have a decent classic Sub-Zero, a decent classic Scorpion. We have a decent Liu Kang, a decent Katana. But I would argue, while this is neat, I would just buy this. Like, I almost like the arms better when they're starting to ice up. I like that effect, even though it wasn't necessarily right for this era. But I don't think I would care because I would just be buying an action figure that I want. So I would buy this 2-pack. And unless they have something really cool going on with this guy, I don't need this guy. I would buy the 2-pack and then I'd buy this. And I think there's another 2-pack, isn't there? I'm surprised this wasn't the 2-pack, was Scorpion and Sub-Zero, but maybe there's a reason they decided not to do that. But I thought there was another possible 2-pack somewhere in this idea as well. Maybe I'm wrong. So the only way to get Melina is to buy another Sub-Zero. So that's where I'm kind of making my argument here. And I notice, are we doing faceplate swaps? Is that what's going on with this Melina? Or are we doing the thing where we swap the hair now in this line? I don't know. This could be a faceplate swap. Either way, this is pretty cool. But I'm really torn on whether or not I care. And if I did get into this line, I'm buying the 2-pack and skipping that Sub-Zero. That's what I've got to say about the Mortal Kombat right now. Chances are, I really don't think you're going to see me coming in here talking about all the Mortal Kombat that I've collected. Because, I like Mortal Kombat for what it is. I've enjoyed it over the years to a point. It is not my favorite by a long shot. And I'm definitely not double dipping Sub-Zeros. And like I said, the only reason I would want them is for them to fight Street Fighter guys. That's a tough line for me. It's a tough buy-in. Very cool Spider-Man statue. Very, very cool. And I can't help but notice that this McFarlane Spider-Man is hitting the shelves at almost the exact time. Like literally right after the release of basically a McFarlane Spider-Man in Marvel Legends. I can't help but wonder if that's like a nice try, guys. And then a bunch of statues. So we have the Amazing Spider-Man #1. Cool. We have Black Panther. That's cool. We have The Thing. The Thing is for me. He made that for me. That's a statue I would buy. I don't have any Fantastic Four statues, but if he makes The Thing with a promise, and I'm not saying he's making a promise, but with the promise that there will be 1/10 Fantastic Four statues that can go with him, that would be fantastic. I would love that. Beast is really cool. Carnage is really cool. I'm not really a statue guy anymore, but The Thing would get my attention. It would get a buy from me. We have Venom, cool. Iron Man, cool. Punisher, cool. That's a good Spider-Man with the tentacles that are coming up and everything. That's pretty cool. Deadpool, I don't care. I'm not a Deadpool guy. I think he's overdone. Fantastic Spawn statue, but we should expect that from the creator of Spawn. And then we're starting to move into stuff that I just don't have any bearing with. Like, I'm not going to be buying this stuff. I'm basically looking at, like, this is cool. I like this, but I have the turtles I want. So this is also not a line that's, like, grabbing my attention. And that is everything. Pretty cool. So I have some stuff that I can definitely look forward to. I won't deny that at all. And I will say that it feels like he's trying to go out with a bang here. Like, hey, we had all this stuff planned over the next 3-4 years. Get it out there. Now, I worry that some of this will suffer quality control issues. Like, I mentioned that Superboy. He feels like he's not right, necessarily. I feel like we need the jacket. And if we're not going to get the jacket, I don't understand why, because you pretty much put that jacket on Power Girl in red. Just change part of it to be black and give it to us again. We know you can do that. Superboy needs the jacket. Why does he not have it? I also can't help but notice that we seem to be going back to rubber capes. In fact, there is definitive proof. A couple of figures have already been found on the shelves, once again, rocking the rubber capes. I don't want those things. You made the advancement. You took us forward. You said, hey, capes with wireframes. People were asking for them. You gave it to us. We moved forward. And it was kind of like an acknowledgement between us, the fans, and the buyers, the consumers, and you, the producer, the creator, that said, hey, this is what you want. Here you go. We said, yes, we do. We bought it. We put it on the shelf. You got my attention when those capes started coming out. A lot more. I started buying a lot more figures because I felt like you, as a producer of the toys, were listening to the demands of the people and making the minor changes as we went forward. This guaranteed that the line was getting better and better and better all the time. And then, now all of a sudden, it feels like you pulled the reins back. And I can't help but feel like you had no choice. Like, some of these they're basically done. They're ready. But then you were like, hey, can we swap these capes? And you were doing that and putting out figures. And then all of a sudden, you ran out of time. And they said, you're not continuing the license. Mattel has bought the master license and they don't want competition. Just speculation, of course. And they have basically made this decision. They're paying a premium for that license, and that premium basically means that you will not be continuing your line. Because we have seen it time and time and time again where other lines, there'll be like 3 or 4 different Ninja Turtles, 3 or 4 different He-Man or whatever that are going on at the same time, and they don't compete with each other necessarily. They're different styles. Hey, you're allowed to build in 4, you're allowed to build in 5.5, you can build in 6, you have to build in 7. You have to have something different about your figures that make it different so that, you know, you're not impinging on this person's license. Licensing is complicated. It really is. It's an absolute storm of complication. So there's no reason, unless Mattel bought the 7-inch rights, and that killed his line. And Mattel is about to start producing 7-inch figures. It makes more sense for Mattel to go 6, but It also makes almost the exact same amount of sense to go in 7. They're already building figures at 6-inch scale and 7-inch scale with a lot of success. So they could go either direction and it would basically be fine. Unless Mattel really throws us for a loop and they got the license to produce in both 6 and 7, and that's what cut McFarlane off. And now, even though he's in negotiation to try to save what he can, maybe he's not winning, and he realizes if he's going to make the money, he needs to make it now. He needs to put out everything that was going to come out, flood the market, get the money he can out of the license before he loses it. And I would argue if that is what's going on here, we would also see re-releases. I think, personally, he would look across the secondary market and say, this is outlandishly priced, this is priced, this is priced, this is priced, send those back out. Because let's be honest, as a businessman, let's put our business hat on. As a businessman, with our business hats, we say to ourselves, why would I allow the secondary market to make $180 a figure? Obviously, if it's selling on the secondary market like that, people want it. I, on my way out, could just produce another Wonder Woman, produce another Starfire, produce another certain figures that are like going up, 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 up. I'll put those out myself and take the $20, $30, gimme, and then I'll take all that money, put it in my pocket. I don't care about the secondary market. These businesses, every business, no business cares about your secondary market. That's a you and me thing. They do not care at all. They're not seeing a dime from it. Now, if they could somehow take a small cut of everything that we sold on the secondary market, they would let it skyrocket. They'd be like, yeah, that figure is worth $180 and we're not making another one, and we get a 10% or 20% kickback on every figure that's sold on the secondary market because our license still has a kickback to us in some kind of royalty sales, then you better believe they would pay attention to that secondary market and they would take all the money that's coming from it and they would allow figures to go scarce to line their pockets. They're not doing that. Why? Because if, and we're going to bring her up again, Power Girl. That's right. She gets to appear in as many videos as I want her to because I think this figure is one of the best he's ever done. And I don't care what you think about it. My collection is my collection. It's not your collection. And she's in my collection and you can hate her all you want. But say she skyrocketed up into the $80 mark or something like that. You don't see no money from that. They don't care about that. The only way they care about that is if they look at it and go, secondary market's selling at crazy values. We could do a reprint, destroy the secondary market, and make all that money for ourselves. Guess what? You may not like it, but as a businessman, guess what decision I'm going to make? Yeah. That's all I've got on this, guys. I'm going to get out of here. Tell me what you think.